Alright guys, I previously made a video on this, but I unfortunately didn't do any sound. This is basically going to be a 2025 guide to modifying your Xbox. And as if I have no real control over this video, I'm just going to kind of let you know. So I use ChatGPT to kind of help me type this out. But it basically has good information and links on if you guys are interested in modifying your Xbox for 2025. This is like obviously for this year. So if you have bought an Xbox, most people who buy Xbox, I recommend you buying an Xbox of a version you like. This is for the original Xbox. I mostly buy them on yard sales or sometimes Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp. And I basically made this chart to tell you what to do. It'd be smart maybe if I played the movie. That would be probably pretty helpful to see it actually scroll. But I already recorded this and I didn't do a voiceover, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I made a Google spreadsheet and I basically made a Google Doc with links for you guys to check. There's a lot of really good links and videos. Other people have already visited this discussion before, so this has been discussed, this has been talked about, but I want to make a short and sweet video that's not an hour long on how to figure this out. So the first thing you're going to do if you have an original Xbox, you're going to want to find out what version you have, and these links will show you what version. Basically, you have version 1.0 all the way to 1.6. I personally like the 1.0 to 1.4. These are the older models. They are easier because you can do a thing called TSOP flash. You could soft mod them or put a mod chip. Where the 1.6 does not have a TSOP flash. Basically, certain versions, most of the versions actually, you can just basically apply a few connections of either solder or connective ink, and you can basically flash your own BIOS into it and null your hard drive. You also could soft mod as well. We're going to be talking about that as well. Soft mods would you put like a Rocky 5 Endgame, and it basically allows you to boot into custom dashboards. And the dashboard I personally like is XBMC for gamers. We'll talk about that. But the main thing you need to know if you have Xbox is if you can boot into your Xbox, you can boot into like the default drive. It's going to save you so much time because you basically want to back up your EEPROM and either flash it or put a mod chip, because the main goal of an Xbox now, honestly, they come with 8 or 10 gig hard drives. You want to replace the hard drives. The hard drives are 20 plus years old. The DVD drives are 20 plus years old. They're going to be going bad. So the best thing to do with their Xbox, in my opinion, is to mod them, to soft mod them or hard mod them. Whatever you prefer. There's no right or wrong answer for this. It's really on what your budget and what you can do. I personally like to soft mod and just put a bigger hard drive in with a bunch of games. But you can put a mod chip in. So let's say like your hard drive's bad and your DVD drive's bad and you don't know how to pull the EEPROM. So a mod chip will allow you to not need the stock BIOS to boot up. So it'll have its own BIOS to boot up. It will boot into like SirBIOS or some other, the different Project Stellar has its own thing. Raspberry Pi has its own, I believe it's SirBIOS as well. And you can also TSOP. So the TSOP flashing with the ink. So if you can either mod chip or you can boot, and this TSOP basically unlocks your hard drive. So you can put any type of hard drive in there. You can put a Western Digital, Toshiba, whatever you want. And this allows you to put a larger hard drive in to load games off of. And that's where the soft modding is really cool, because you basically tell it, hey, this has a custom OS, and you can plug in a larger hard drive to run games off of. This is what I like to do with my Xbox, is put a large hard drive and run the games off the Xbox. And you can do that with soft modding. You can absolutely run games off your current hard drive, but it's 8 or 10 gigs. You're not going to be able to fit a lot of games on the current stock Xbox if your Xbox works. So that's why I talk about upgrading or replacing the parts. So you definitely want to, you need to basically buy a better IDE cable. This is an 80-pin IDE cable. You can get it from Amazon, you can get it from AliExpress, and then put whatever size hard drive you want. You only need to put a SATA drive. You don't have to put an SSD. Any SATA drive will work because it's running off an IDE adapter. So just get like a, even a 5400 720 big, large SATA. They're under $40 at Amazon, and you want to buy this StarTech adapter. So you have the adapter. You can either pull your EEPROM, which we'll talk about later, or you can TSP flash it before with the soft mod, Rocky 5, or any of the there's different flashing tools that allow you to basically flash it so it'll read off the hard drive, or you can basically load your hard drive information into it. It's really not that hard to do. There's a bunch of guides I'm putting here. So if you want to flash the TSP yourself, you can do that. You can solder it yourself, or you can use a thing called ink pen. You just basically connect a few points. There's really good guides here as well. So I sent links on this as well. You just click on it. It'll show you the picture, what to do, what ports. You don't have to be too technical. I think if you're a solderer, if you're good at soldering, you're probably going to want mod chip. If you're not good at soldering, you're going to want to basically either TSP flash or just soft mod and transfer the EEPROM if you can. And then I'm basically talking about loading games with Fat Explorer 3.0 beta. It's by far the best tool to load your games to your hard drive. It's the fastest way. You have to buy a SATA to USB adapter though. So this again, it just comes down to money. The more money you want to throw at your Xbox is basically how much better it's going to be. You can FTP as well. You can hook up your Xbox to your internet through an Ethernet cable, and you can FTP and transfer your dashboards that way. You can transfer your games that way. And a lot of the issues, like I said, if you have an Xbox, most Xbox either DVD drive doesn't work or the hard drive doesn't work, or sometimes both. So I'd recommend you can actually get a whole entire replacement drive and load it up and put it in there. This is what I had to do on most of my Xboxes because every time I buy a working Xbox, the DVD drive doesn't read and the hard drive's bad. So it's just a pretty common thing to happen. They're over 20 years old, they go bad. You can replace the DVD drives, they're pretty much interchangeable, but you have different options on what you want to do to get it to work. And then the worst option is if you have a bad hard drive and a DVD drive, so you can't boot into any soft mod. It won't read a USB. You're getting an error code. So this way you have to grab the EEPROM. This is like the motherboard information. This is where it gets really confusing and difficult if your hard drive doesn't boot at all. Then you have to extract the EEPROM. There's a few methods here to do it. You can use a Raspberry Pi, you can use a Raspberry Pi Pico, or you can use a serial port. And I linked the videos and guides on how to do this. I've had to do this on a few motherboards. Most of them you're going to need to know how to solder because you need to solder to the motherboard header pins to pull the information off. And then once you grab the EEPROM, you use Fat Explorer to transfer it to a hard drive, saying, "Hey, this is the same hard drive that belongs to the Xbox." It kind of tricks the system to allow it to boot up. And then there's a website, the Hanzo or Hanzo, that actually has a C and E drive. I like to just load a drive from there. It's already built for you, and then start loading my own games. So that's why I think this is by far the hardest method. If your Xbox doesn't boot up, you're gonna have to extract the EEPROM, and this is a pain in the butt. It takes a long time. It's not easy. I'd recommend just getting Xbox that works. So a lot of times, if your Xbox doesn't turn on, there's a lot of issues. Obviously, the clock capacitors are always pretty bad in all the systems and need to be replaced. You cannot remove them in a 1.6, so don't take them out of a 1.6. It will not boot up. You need to keep it in there. But on the other ones, you can just remove them and clean them. So they have dry rot, they have like circuit failures. You have the caps are known to bulge. So it's really hard to know because you have to open it up to see this. The DVD drive has laser issues. They need to be adjusted. Sometimes the belts are bad. It could be like a lot of stuff. I recommend opening up, cleaning them with Isopure alcohol, and just making sure that they work before you start modding them. Because a lot of times it's going to be more expensive to just buy another one or scrap it for parts. So if you can buy a working Xbox that does boot into the BIOS, it's going to make your life so much easier. If they're broken, please know you're in for a world of a project. You can still fix them, but you need to be more confident with repairs and soldering. And then I also talk about the best way to back up your Xbox titles. So if you legally own it, I linked you with the website that has the Xbox ROMs. You need to extract them into your F drive games directory. So when you're making a new hard drive with Fat Explorer, you want to make a folder called games, all lowercase, and extract. They need to be extracted Xbox games. And that's probably the best way to load the ROMs into your F drive. And then you can play the games off your dashboard. That's what I personally like to do. That's my favorite thing because you could have a 1 terabyte hard drive and have like hundreds of Xbox games, and you can run emulation pretty much like Super Nintendo, Genesis, all those cool stuff. But you can basically run everything off the hard drive. You don't need a DVD drive. So that's why I'm a big fan of doing that. And then so I kind of made like a spreadsheet. This is kind of like a my rough draft. Find out what version of Xbox you have. These are the different versions. You can either soft mod them or put a mod chip in them. I talk about the clock capacitors. You basically, I can't do this. You clean all the Xbox, and then if you want a soft mod, I recommend soft modding for everyone. Rocky 5 is by far the simplest way to do it, and I have links for you to either build your own Rocky 5 or to either buy it. And there's some good website links there. So if you can't solder, you can get the pen here. And it talks about TSP. You want to solder, you can buy a soldering iron, do it yourself. If you want a soft mod, you can. There's great videos. Mario has some great videos on how to do it. You can do that, or you can buy the Rocky 5 already made from you from the Etsy store. There's like a lot of really convenient stuff out there. You just need to know what to look. So I kind of put the links and whatnot here. You need an APN ID, a cable, StarTech adapter, hard drive. I just kind of make everything in one place for you guys to look. I'll go ahead and leave these up in the video below. And then basically it's kind of like questions like I want to soft mod myself. This is what you need. I want to load games on my hard drive. This is the program I need. I just kind of put everything you need. The links here. So both these will be available below in the video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If you're interested in getting into modifying your Xbox for 2025, I know it's a lot of information. There's a lot of videos. There's a lot of good stuff out there on it. I recommend you definitely YouTube and do some research before you ask questions. But I'm pretty active on the Reddit, and these are the questions I get asked a lot. So I want to kind of make one location to put all the information to help people out. Let me know what version of Xbox you have, and what do you prefer, a soft mod or a hard mod?